let's go all the way back to the start. Just born. You come out of the womb. No. What
shit. What's your relationship with your parents?
Yeah, I think genuinely their disappointment of me drove me on to be an entrepreneur.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. We're going there.
We're on. We're on.
All right. I got a clapperboard as well.
Yeah. Are you
For
ready?
an official introduction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
official introduction.
And also, and we do a big round of applause as well.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
On today's show, we have Jonny Thomson of Fit4Racing, and we're going to talk about some really cool subjects. It's going to be a really good episode, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. He's saving the best one till the end.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you making the journey as well,
excited.
actually, dude. Because it's a hell of a haul for you to come down here. So thank you. On a Sunday too, Lord's Day.
It just seems like mountain biking in the UK seems to be circulating around this very
podcast.
small area.
This podcast.
This podcast. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the epicenter of mountain biking culture.
This is the media hub of mountain biking.
So actually, I get drawn here. I get in my van. It's just like magnetism down here, so it's fine. I just autopilot like Tesla.
It is here, isn't it?
Appear here very often.
Where is it in other countries?
What?
Here we've got mountain biking.
Are you claiming that mountain biking is in the south? Oh, okay.
No, I only mean brands. I certainly don't mean mountains, because that we have zero.
Hills.
Yeah, little hills. Yeah, but there are a lot of brands here, aren't there?
Yeah, it's almost like the Temecula of California for
there
moto,
you go.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Where all of the moto brands are all in one very confined area.
Yeah.
Interesting though. I guess close to London for people to come and visit.
That's it. Yeah, it's the closest countryside to London. That's literally it.
Good money.
That's where the money is.
Where the money is.
You can sell bikes around here.
Yeah. Yeah, you won't see big brands opening up in Sheffield. Oh, there's a few. There is a few.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got amazing riding, haven't you? And a killer.
Yeah.
Like Sheffield's such a good scene, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a good scene. But where you're from, it's a good scene, right? You're like
It's
on
weird.
The
It's a little
where
bit
exactly
more
are you
like
from? Sorry.
Penrith, just
Penrith.
outside the Lake District.
Yeah.
So there's a good scene with some hardcore riders, but a lot of it they're like more the outdoorsy type.
Right.
So they're not like the gravity mountain bikers or there's no jumps anywhere in the Lake District.
Right.
So I'm absolutely shit at jumping.
Okay.
But it's kind of it's more exploring on a bike than mountain biking like we like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So you like near Workington? Is it that way?
The other way.
Other way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Woking, the Maras.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm on the M666, so quite a good old market town,
Yeah.
which is good access for everywhere
Yeah.
into the lakes, and I can ride to the Pennines, which is like no one's ever there,
Really?
but it's actually impossible in the winter.
Yeah, I don't really
unless
know
it's
the riding
frozen.
up there. Do you know the
Nothing
riding up there?
No, it's just kind of
Nothing.
You can get on a hill and claim you're mountain biking.
So is
Okay.
there's
Which is
no
cool.
tracks, or there's
There's
actually no
bridle
riding?
ways, lots of boggy shit.
Yeah.
Amazing for
Boggy
e-bike
shit, a lot of boggy
riding.
shit, yeah.
Nothing groomed, nothing built, all
Yeah.
natural stuff.
Okay.
But actually amazing scenery there. And you go up on a bank holiday and see two people in like something that looks like Mordor.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
mad, isn't it?
And then you go into the lakes, and then you get all the wankers coming up from Manchester and Liverpool
Yeah.
and Newcastle just to have a day in the lakes and basically feed some ducks, take some pictures, and go home. And just clog up the roads.
Yeah. Probably.
Have I started this well? Where's your listenership from?
yeah, exactly.
Heavy Lake District audience?
Every location in the UK has been slated so far.
Only the people that don't ride bikes.
Yeah,
Everyone else, I don't care where you're from.
Yeah.
If you're on a bike,
Must be cool to have a bit of wilderness, though. Wilderness is what we lack here massively. Like I can go, you just go riding. You don't have to bring a bottle, tools. You're always going to find a road. You're always going to find a way home. I like the idea of wilderness, but maybe you just like what you don't have.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'd say
it's
we've
good.
got a little bit where I am.
Yeah.
Not loads. I mean, obviously with anything, as long as you go in the one direction long enough, I think you find it.
Yeah.
But it's always enough that you're like, okay, if anything does happen, I can walk to something, a road or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't say wilderness. You got like wilderness up there, though.
kind of, yeah.
You
More
can be
than
like
Pennines,
out.
Yeah. And this is why e-bikes are so good now, because you can go exploring where you wouldn't normally. Normally you'd be like, nah, I'm not going to go down there, because if there's nothing there, I'm going to have to come back up. But it encourages you to go a little bit further than you would.
Yeah, it's like you were saying about exploring like new zones.
Yeah.
E-bike's kind of the one in it.
All right.
Unless you want to suffer all day.
Your business is called Fit for Racing. Yet you're
Forget
an e-bike
e-bikes.
proponent. Yeah. I was gonna, but actually forget e-bikes. I'm interested.
No, actually, it's a really good subject because we put out a video a little while ago and it got quite a lot of comments on it. And it's polarizing e-biking because the premise of the video was use your e-bike for zone 2. And so that you can still get a number of downhill runs that are fun, but you can just moderate the zone that you're in by basically using your gearing. So if you're on a normal bike going up a hill, inevitably you're going to get out of zone 2 when it gets steep, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you get off and push, which you don't really want to do. So putting it from eco all the way into boost, using it like gears, you can still keep your heart rate low and be in that zone 2, which is good for recovery, but you're still getting good rides.
Yeah.
So to people listening, zone 2, can you explain zone 2 and why it's good and what it feels like on a bike?
So it's basically, while you're riding, you can hold a conversation. You don't get too sweaty, and it's the magic aerobic zone. You can stay in for hours, increase your aerobic capacity without the fatigue and then the recovery. So you might go zone 3 and 4 and think you're working harder, which you probably get a little bit more fitness by doing that, but you don't get much less in zone 2. But then you can do it day after day. And you can increase that base fitness. So it's the recovery time after. So that's the important thing.
Okay.
Right.
I like zone 2. That'd make great merch.
So the point of that video was to kind of use your e-bike as a tool, and you got all of the people commenting saying, I've actually done this. This is the way I train. And I didn't realize it was like an actual way to train.
Right.
And I felt like when I got back on my normal bike in the summer, I was way fitter.
Yeah.
And then you get the people that hate e-bikes, like no one will ever do that. I can
Everyone
only afford
expects
one
boost.
bike. How can you get an e-bike as a tool? I'm like, those people, both sides, are so passionate about it. It's amazing to see because one knows, the other doesn't, and you only know what you know, and you have a strong opinion of that. So you're kind of in the middle trying to support the positivity.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, well, read Bob's comment up above, and he experienced the exact same thing that you say no one will ever do.
Yeah, it's true. I think that is still such a thing, isn't it, within mountain biking, that in the community is that e-bike thing, and people who just won't commit to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think that's people have took a really hard stance on that, which is understandable, especially financially, because they are expensive. And to have two bikes is a lot, but I think as they get more lightweight and like the SL versions of things and stuff like that, I think more people are going to start experiencing, like what you just said, going out and being able to do a zone 2 ride. Because depending on where you live, zone 2 can be a difficult ride sometimes.
Yeah,
because you're going to hit hills, aren't you? You're going to find actual wilderness and actual like.
Sheffield's like you have to go
it's
to
tough,
a hill
like
on the way out, don't you?
Yeah,
I went on a
100%.
road training camp in Mallorca, and I literally couldn't do the zone 2. The zone 2 was just too. It was so boring.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do it. I just gave up, which is really, I know, but that's an interesting thought for someone to think that doing the right thing is actually almost doing less.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be in the right kind of mindset for that as well. It depends on what other things you're doing. I wouldn't suggest that a 9 to 5 worker would spend 2 hours on a Saturday morning doing a zone 2, and that would be their training for the week.
Yeah.
So we're talking about people that are doing additional training on top of the stuff that really makes a difference. But ultimately, don't exchange the time on the bike, getting your skills up, for zone 2 on, say, a turbo trainer.
Yeah.
Like, go out on your bike. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And like we did have a guy in the very early days of having an online program who just did exactly what we said in the gym for the full off season. And then he got in and he actually wrote an email of complaint and said, I did my first enduro race and I was really shit. I was like, how much time did you spend on the bike? He said, nothing. I was like, of course you were shit. You're in the whole 6 months in the gym. It's like physically prepared, but I mean, you know.
Yeah. So was he expecting you to have written into the program
Well, I
like
think-
X amount of biking?
I think my marketing must have been really fucking good because he
He
thought
followed it.
that 6 months in the gym would make him a better rider without anything else. I mean, I should have communicated it. We'd try a little bit more now to communicate that point.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So skills first on the bike, enjoyment. Then if you've got like supplemental stuff, and that's where the zone 2 on an e-bike helps, because you still get the number of downhills, but you can do more of it. And it's a little bit more appealing when the weather's no good. And,
Yeah.
you know, like for me as well, a massive thing is moderating your temperature.
Right.
So I can go out on an e-bike for 3 hours and not have to take off clothes or put them on. And it's just frustrating when you're on a regular bike. You get half as much done. You're really uncomfortable because then you strip in, your goggles are steamed up. But on an e-bike, you just lap and lap and lap and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think for me, that's a big, especially living where I live, in all honesty, sometimes I don't want to get the regular bike out because you're like, I've got to grind all the way up that climb. By the time I get to the top, I'm going to be red hot, uncomfortable, and then you get that horrible hot, sweaty, cold, sweaty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're cold but you're
coming
sweating.
down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just get me home.
Whereas the e-bike, you're just like cruising.
Yeah.
Big proponent for e-bikes at the moment, I'll be honest. But time of year as well.
Dude,
It's the season for e-biking. We mentioned online coaching just briefly, and I think it'd be cool to unpack all this and find the true story of Fit for Racing.
The true story.
The real story, man. Like this is for me like the interesting thing with having guests on and stuff is finding out more about you as a person and like where you know how you got into doing what you're doing and how you've created this really cool business with Fit for Racing. Yeah. So let's go all the way back to the start. Just born. You come out of the womb. No. What is it?
Shit. Top relationship with your parents.
Yeah, I think genuinely their disappointment of me drove me on to be an entrepreneur.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. We're going there.
Yeah. Is it a therapy session?
Could be. Can be.
I need a big sofa.
So yeah, where did it start though, man? Like what's your history of biking and fitness and everything? Like where did it all?
Well, it was
where's
kind
the
of like
crucial bit?
Everything happened as like a natural progression. So I wasn't at school really into fitness.
Okay.
I wasn't like that sporty. I was ultra competitive.
In what sports?
Archery.
No way.
Yeah, random. I know.
Wow.
I was well into it.
Okay.
I shot for England one time, which was
Yeah.
brilliant. But what I think is like, and I had 2 paper rounds, so I was on a bike all the time, and I was always riding
But
out.
you accurately delivered those papers, didn't you?
No, shit.
Throwing them through
Like in
letterboxes.
America, yeah. So archery, I think, like honed my mind as you would imagine a golfer in a swing, where you're entirely. It's not really physical. There's like an element of it, but it's like the mental. You make it or break it on how you visualize it. And I think me alone with my mind in that scenario was perfect for me because I could kind of escape in it.
Okay.
But on the side, I was quite into rollerblading when it was cool.
Yeah.
That's 5-year window when it was actually cool. If there was a time.
There was. I was with you. Skate park,
Yeah,
rollerblades
sweet.
back in the day.
I just couldn't. Yeah, you got opinions about it. So then, I was always into kind of extreme stuff. I fantasized about snowboarding, but never got the opportunity until I was older. But I wanted to experience loads of stuff, and I wouldn't call myself sporty. So I wasn't at school thinking I love the gym because I hadn't been in a gym for at that point. So I didn't then go to college because I wanted to be a PT or a sports coach. I actually genuinely loved competitive sport. And then I found the social side of riding a bit later on. So I always kind of rode my bike around the fells and whatnot.
Right.
But then there was a group of us early 20s when we would go. And that was kind of when I was developing as an adult and find myself on nights out with like-minded people that would rather go riding through the day, have a great time and follow on in the evening. And that's actually probably what hooked me to mountain biking was the social side of it.
Sick.
And so then developing my skills on the bike, it was something new to learn in that sense. We were traveling up to Glen Tress at weekends and trail centre stuff, and it was all cool.
What were you doing for work around this sort of time?
So around that
20s
time, I
and
actually
stuff.
worked at Vet Labs, which is a bit random. So when Foot and Mouth was on, I was taken on as like a lab attendant.
Really?
Yeah, and then I stayed on. We used to do like postmortems on animals that died, and to basically find out how they died. Random. And that then took me to a job as a fingerprint expert in the police, so like a forensic scientist.
Whoa.
Which I know, random.
Tenuous link there.
Yeah, I know, but this
So
kind of
cool,
all
yeah.
comes together.
From foot and mouth to fingerprints.
Yeah, so that, like, randomly, I think having an analytical mind of that, then doing some work in the gym, just because I was a young 20-year-old, I wanted to look a bit better, but finding that the work in the gym didn't help my riding in the summer. So I'd be out on my bike all summer,
Yeah.
then I'd be in the gym basically undoing that and doing
Right.
something else. And the transition was like 6 months here, 6 months there for a couple of years.
What were you training like
Interesting,
back then? What were
yeah.
you training like?
Like,
a bodybuilder, basically?
Bodybuilder stuff,
Yeah.
got bored of that. And then it was like powerlifter stuff because I wanted the competitive edge of being able to improve like tangible numbers. You know, like, what's my deadlift at now? How can I improve that number instead of a non-quantifiable look at myself in the mirror, be disappointed, and have manorexia for the rest of my life as a perma bulker, which I think I've only just got over like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, really?
So I don't look like a mountain biker because I'd done that time.
Yeah.
But then found the first, so I had done martial arts as a kid as well, or like teenager. And then I found that I did some like searching on YouTube when it started coming up with like Brock Lesnar with the MMA stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that shit will get me jacked and good on the bike.
Ah,
And so I started doing conditioning.
okay.
So the strength base was already good.
Yeah.
Doing the conditioning side was good. And I found that did transition on the bike.
Can you break those two things down then? Just for me.
The strength side and the
Yeah.
conditioning side.
Yeah.
Basically strength in the sense that powerlifting is a sport of 3 lifts: squat, deadlift, and bench press.
Yeah.
And your score or your result is either individual or a combination of all of the numbers that you can do on one lift of each.
Mm-hmm.
Conditioning is a non-quantifiable preparation for a sport. So doing multiple reps of varied exercises with capacity, muscular endurance, explosiveness, and basically more of a functional fitness type thing,
Yeah.
which then directly affected my biking.
Right.
But during the search for that and getting into it, I kept seeing CrossFit in its infancy.
Okay.
And then
What
videos.
sort of time we're speaking about? Sorry to keep interrupting you, but
All right.
what are we thinking?
2004, maybe?
2000, yeah, sweet.
4,
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so it was like super early days, but they had videos on. I was like, I quite fancy that workout, but there's like middle-aged women doing these kettlebell swings with 8 kilos and stuff. I'm not into that. I want something hardcore. But because it kept drawing me there, it's like, right, tell you what, I'll win CrossFit and then I'll move on. there was a workout, and what they used to do was post the workout of the day, and you put your times on. I was like, I'll do this workout, Helen. Loads of times on there to beat.
Yeah.
I'll win, and then I'll move on. And it was 400 meter run, 12 pull-ups, 24 kettlebell swings. And you do 3 rounds of that, and at each one I could do very well. But when I did 3 rounds, I absolutely ended myself. Yeah. And I was way down on the leaderboard, and these middle-aged women were beating me. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm totally hooked now until I win it.
And is this actually in a CrossFit gym?
No, this is in
all on, like,
the police
YouTube.
headquarters gym.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
Right,
So
okay.
people are like, what the fuck is Jonny doing? Running around. Like, so then I'm teaching myself the things to get better at a quantifiable strength and conditioning. So my passion for competition was then I was able to compare my performance to other people and have a drive and a path forward for that performance.
Yeah.
So then I realized shortly after that I was better at CrossFit than I was riding, and I was getting all of my kicks from CrossFit. And then I was trained, the gym wasn't good enough, so I bought my own equipment and went in the sports hall. And then other people would come with me. Right. Like, Jonny, what are you doing? It looks cool. I'd be like, oh, hop on this. It's insane. And before I knew it, we had like 20 people in the sports hall. I was like, give me £2 each and we can buy some more equipment. And so we have this really cool community of people that are really into it. All the PTs at the police, I was like, oh, come down, prepare for your fitness tests because you're all shit cops. And the PTs down there like, oh shit, man, writing letters of complaint to the chief, like this guy, he's got this fad going on.
I was going to say, because it was looked at as like a fad thing.
It's never going to last. And I was like, nah, this is the future.
Yeah.
Until I put some holes in the sprung floor with like Olympic weightlifting and stuff, and I was like, it's time to move out. Then we got a unit, like 700 quid a month. Thought the people here pay a little bit more, and we can just train there. So I have no intention of opening
You're still
a
in
business.
the police, still in the police,
still
doing
in
it
the
like as a
police.
side thing.
Mornings, lunchtimes, evenings. So the better I got at that, the worse I got at being a fingerprint expert, in all honesty, because my passion just went elsewhere. And I learned so much about strength and fitness, primarily for me and my enjoyment.
Yeah.
And the people around me enhanced that. And so having a gym and a platform there where I could build a community, basically to bring me up, as selfish as it sounds, but everyone was experiencing that same thing that I got from that riding community, where everyone's buzzing for someone's achievement. Yeah. And it wasn't that I wanted loads of people to beat, because we were a team then, and we did team competitions. So we go away and we beat other teams, and that was good for us as a community.
Yeah.
So that kind of spiraled. We got more members. I dropped some time at work, and then Jonny Walker came with his manager.
Right.
And because he was Keswick, so Jonny Walker, Red Bull Moto Enduro, he was really good at the time. And I actually said, I have no interest in being a PT. You can join classes if you like.
Who was taking the classes then? Were you doing
me?
Right.
Yeah.
So you were, just to unpack this, so you were seeing the workouts online, or you were following
No,
those,
sorry.
like,
So I'd already qualified. So by that point,
because you could do a CrossFit course, couldn't you?
yeah, but I mean, to be honest, it's a weekend course.
No, is it?
So I use that as a gateway to be able to open a gym.
Right.
So at that point, or like a couple of years before then, I wouldn't have even classed myself as a coach. I was there facilitating for people to join in. But then when it got busier, then I took other qualifications on top of that.
Right.
And probably more importantly, more of like the seminar stuff. So looking at extreme versions of, say, weightlifting. So do a British weightlifting level 3, and then go to an actual Olympic weightlifting gold medalists seminar and see the difference, and then find what works. Because ultimately, there was like opinions of how you train for weightlifting, and like the e-bike, normal bike, actually, these are polar opposites, but it's all the same thing. We're riding bikes, or we're doing a snatch and clean and jerk. Yeah. And the grey area in the middle is the 99% of people that need some degree of that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found this.
How did CrossFit do that? Like, how did they take this idea of strength conditioning? I don't know what you call it. It's got a mixture of everything.
Yeah,
and
they gamified it.
How did they turn that into a... Yeah, they turned it into a game, but how did they turn it into like a brand? How did they do that?
So the founder, Greg Glassman, he was a trainer, and he trained someone with a lot of money. He said, you should do something more with this.
Right. So he just took these new ways of training and just sort of developed it.
And at the time, the internet back then was quite manipulatable. Yeah. So you could have the homepage. So the idea with the comments on each one was traffic. And then when you affiliate, you put links on your website to the homepage. So it basically meant that everyone like me searching for training found CrossFit. Yeah. Then it was accessible to open a gym because it was a weekend course. And back then you would have to do like a 2-year course to even consider opening a gym. Or buy one with machines, let's say.
He still makes money off every single person that says their gym is CrossFit, right?
Yeah, it's like an affiliation you pay. Yeah.
That's crazy, mad to think, isn't it?
Really,
every
really
single
smart.
CrossFit gym.
Yeah. But that's part of the reason why. So when I started CrossFit, I loved it so much. But then it developed into a sport. So for me, it was strength and conditioning. I did enjoy the sport of it, but it was a little bit more randomized. So you could do a 10K trail run, and then you could do something that was like sandbag carries, or, when you got to competitions, it was more diverse. But then the sport became Olympic weightlifting at a high degree, plus some other kind of Metcon, like particular types of movements that then actually narrowed it to a specialist sport. Yeah. I like the broadness of it because I could say to any athlete like Jonny Walker, come in, do this, strength and conditioning, it'll help your sport.
Yeah.
So it was general. It became, if you wanted to do CrossFit as a sport, you would have to exclude quite a lot of the other things, and it probably will hurt you.
Yeah.
And so then I fell out of love because of that. And you got so many people that misunderstood the point of CrossFit. Okay. They wanted to do it as a sport, but didn't realize that it will hurt you eventually if you don't do it well.
As in hurt because you're not lifting properly, you're
technique, mobility, and there's lots of qualifications for doing snatches and high level Olympic weightlifting that people just shouldn't do.
Right.
And so then when I saw that, so anyway, Jonny then actually moved to France for a year and came back. And in that year, I thought maybe I could do this gym thing full time. Maybe I could be a personal trainer on the side to supplement the memberships and just do it. So actually, I took Jonny on and 2 other people. And Jonny was like, he did 2 or 3 sessions. Like, how much for 10 sessions? I was like, well, I can give you a discount. He's like, how much for 20? And he ended up buying like 50 sessions in a oneer.
Really?
Yeah. And then the other 2 people, they were basically loaded and they just wanted a cheerleader. So after a couple of months, I was like, I can't just stand here at 6 a.m. helping you because you're taking my energy away. I didn't say this to them, but I needed something back. And to train an athlete like Jonny, we had the same mindset of why we were doing it. And that was improvement. And I could relate to it because it was a 2-wheel bike sport. And, you know, I could kind of get into that. But because he bought those 50 sessions, he's like, can I bring like a couple of my mates? It's like, yeah. I mean, you paid for my hour. I'm not going to do that extra person is 10 quid because ultimately you just paid for my hour. So then he brought Adam Brayton and a couple other guys. Brayton got into it and was like, oh, well, I was a mountain biker. I can relate to this a bit more. And it actually took me a full year of working with them to even consider anything that I could do outside of them. Right. I was dedicated to these 2 or 3 sessions they did each week. It was brilliant. They all really came up.
And they were seeing improvements.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jonny had his best year. I think it was the year that Brayton got a podium at Fort William and he was in the top 20. Did he have the template maybe then? Can't remember.
What year are we talking?
I mean, Brayton was our best marketing, but Brayton's very much like he's a narrow view and he loves what he's doing at the time and he's a grafter. And he said somewhere, the only thing I changed that year was I started doing Fit4Racing. I was like, fantastic. However, let it be known, all of the athletes that I train do it themselves. Right. I have no doubt that they could still be high achievers without me. Yeah. I just make something that's varied, exciting, and relevant, which increases engagement. So we maybe get that little extra. Yeah. I'm not going to make claim that I've created champions, you know. So yeah, a year passes. Jonny breaks his leg. I take him down to Manchester to see a physio. Plucked up the courage. I was like, Jonny, I've had this idea. See, with CrossFit, I sign up to online programs to help me as an athlete. I don't really see any of this out there. Millway was going, and then you got like the 6 or 12 week off the shelf programs. I was like, I could do a similar thing where I change it every week and we keep them engaged. Would you mind if I did that around biking? He's like, no, go for it. Right. I was like, fantastic.
Sick.
So then we started doing like some of the videos and stuff, launched it. And back then I was doing more of a personalized program for people, but it got up to like 20 people paying. And a lot of it was cut and paste. So I just saw similarities between people's abilities after doing tests and their needs. So I just emailed those 20 and I was like, look guys, or like throughout the disciplines, we did motocross, enduro moto and downhill at the time. So I emailed those and I said, we're just going to split it to disciplines because I see almost all of you have the same needs. And they all said it was better that way. because I could dedicate more time to a single program than individual programs.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, how it varies. How would you say it? Can you summarize how it varies? If you split it up, right?
Between the disciplines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like motocross is a little bit more like downhill, and enduro moto a little bit more like enduro MTB.
Okay, yeah.
In the way that I formulate it, but ultimately lots of it is the same still. Yeah. So we're still talking general. And like a lot of the stuff that you see on Instagram, that is to get traffic and engagement from people to say, I see the relevance of that.
Yeah.
But that's not all of our training.
Right.
Where when we used to train a lot and it always looked like it was hardcore redlining.
Yeah.
And we came up with a lot of resistance from the market that I was trying to come into, and people saying, you can't just redline all the time. And these are things that they'd never said before until they saw our content. Like, but we're not redlining all the time. That's just the shit that we put out there.
I really hear you. Like every, I've always thought that kind of, again, the algorithm, like you see all of your favorite pro athletes and they're juggling stood on a,
yeah,
you know, because they're not going to post the sort of like,
4 hour zone 2 5 times a week.
Exactly. Yeah. Or even just like warming up squats or like the boring stuff doesn't get posted. But I feel like I see a reflection of it in gyms. Like people,
they commit to the small things because they think that's it.
Yeah.
But they forget everything else. And ultimately we have the icing on the cake. So I try and mix our social media content with education and some of the fancy stuff that you might not see other places, which to be honest is probably to the detriment of us, because people then copy that and they think that should be the foundation of their training, either individually or like we see now some of the other coaches taking some of that. I'm like, more fool you, because you don't know that only appeared in the program one time last year. Now you got it 3 times a week for your athletes.
Guys, interesting. Yeah. So is there a bit of that? Do you think there is a bit of that? If you're doing something new, do people take your ideas? Is it like,
I have considered whether we put things out to see how then they're copied.
Juggling carrots.
Well, I can't do it because I know there's people out there that are genuinely getting good content that they can influence their training for free.
Yeah.
And they're doing a better job of training for mountain biking because of our free content, which is great. I'm sure 95% of people do that.
Yeah.
People that don't want to have to think about it sign up to the program, and that's that.
Got you.
But I know for a fact that because we were the first ones that would not do an off-the-shelf program and call it passive income, where I just sit down for 2 days, create a program, put it on the internet, sell it for the next 5 years, or 400 quid a month as a personal coach for mountain biking sport. It was somewhere in the middle, where actually it's varied every week. And actually the development of the program went from a PDF, and then I would film myself just talking about it because I was getting so many emails about how to do this, how to do that. Then I'd talk people through, and then I'd still get more emails. So every time the work of doing a better service was less than the emails I had to answer, I would increase the delivery. So now we film every program every single week, and we go through every part of it. So I hate this shit where you get a movement library. Like Monday, back squats. Like your back squat could be done 50 different times at different tempos and different reasons why you do it.
Through it.
So we go through it every time, because in a 3-week block, it might be done differently. And the numbers this time will feel like this, and you should execute it this way, and you should rest this much. And these are the reasons. And I think when you give people the reasons, then you get more engagement, which ultimately makes them better. But on the backtracking, on the stuff that you see on ours, there are others, and people send me them as well. Like, have you seen this? It's basically what you said last week. And I've actually heard others on podcasts, and I could find the podcast, link it, and then show a YouTube video that we'd done like 7 or 8 months prior, and be like, it's basically a mirror of what we have said. I don't like this stealing shit without the 15 years of how it developed.
Yeah.
So you can take, like, I don't know, say you're an artist and you decide that a particular style of picture is good, and you start doing that because it's popular, you don't have the passion and the development that got you to that abstract place that you're proud of. And then when someone copies it, it actually takes away some of that, because there's so much creativity that goes into these to get the engagement. And I feel like when people take it, it's good that it kind of has developed into more of an accessible strength and conditioning environment for mountain bikers. But when people are taking bits and not understanding why, then they get a misservice. And I feel like someone's stolen something from me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I've got a really good question.
Yeah.
After the break.
Our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it literally every single day.
Same. I drink it literally every day as well.
And I have since they've become a sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, man. And some say...
And a bit before.
Yeah, a little bit before as well. We did a little bit of a test, didn't we?
Yeah.
Some people have said that the podcast wouldn't be what it is without us being optimized, nutritionally sound, and just genuinely feeling better.
Dude,
But
absolutely.
I think that's probably true.
I tell you the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have all of these little pots and little boxes and powders and all of these different little vitamins and minerals and stuff and supplements.
Yeah.
I would take, and it would take me ages to get them all out of their little twisty bottles and their pipettes and their little tiny things.
Like Pac-Man in the kitchen.
And every day I had to do that.
Yeah, it's too much, man.
Dude, it's too much. Now I get up, I have my AG1.
Super easy as well, isn't it? Whether you're using a scoop out of the tin or you're using a travel pack. Shall I do a quick AG1 just to show you how easy it is?
Show how easy it is to
I'll
cover
show you how easy
all
it is.
your nutritional bases, dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
This is when it starts getting really good for audio listeners, isn't it? Because
Yeah, really good for audio
okay,
listeners.
shall I explain what you're doing?
Yes, please.
Davey's just taken one of the travel packs, which
correct.
we'll get more onto later on. He's tipping it actually not even into his shaker. He's just doing it into a glass because he doesn't even have his shaker with him because he used it at home this morning. So he's now right.
Oh.
He's just okay. This is a remix, dude. This is a remix.
Okay.
Can you explain the remix?
Yeah, okay. Some people choose to use water. Tap water is absolutely fine. Just some of that. We got some of that. You know, you can pour a little bit of water in there like this.
Yeah, okay. He's
There you
pouring the
go.
water. Yeah, he's
What
pouring the
I
water.
like to do though, Ollie, is
Okay.
I like to use coconut water. It's ever so tasty, and it's even better if it has a yellow sticker on it.
There you go.
So yeah, so I'm going to put some coconut water into this.
Right. I'm going to go through some facts whilst you're mixing that up. AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple, drinkable habit. Science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients. AG1 is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category. It helps you build your health foundation first. And you probably can hear Davey stirring that up right now.
Yeah, it's stirred, mate. It's ready to go. And that's it. It's as simple as that, dude. You literally put your packet in or your scoop, a little bit of water or coconut water if you choose to, and then you know you're going to be nutritionally sound throughout the day. Okay? I'm just going to have a quick swig.
Have a swig.
All right.
Can you hear him? He's enjoying it. In case you're not watching, he is enjoying it. Covering his nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why Davey trusts AG1. Isn't that right?
That's correct, dude. So, if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D or vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase.
Pretty good.
Go to drinkag1.com/ride companion. That is
drinkag1.com/ride companion.
okay. That's drinkag1.com/ride companion. And right there, you will find out how to get your free travel packs, free vitamin D, delivered to your door, nutritionally sound, ready to be optimized, ready to kick ass in the world. It's as easy as that. All the details are in the show description. So what are you waiting for? Support the podcast and get involved.
All right. Thanks, AG1.
Thanks, AG1. So, great break, right?
That was good. It was
Best
Yeah,
out that way.
yeah. Feel refreshed.
Thank you.
Ready for more.
We mentioned Brayton before, and a topic that's come up loads on this podcast is like body types for mountain biking.
Yeah.
When Brayton first walked into that gym, we know Brayton now, I guess, as this like pretty jacked, one of the bigger guys on a bike, stronger.
Well, yeah.
Is that what you saw when he came in? Was he already training like a CrossFit athlete, or have
He
you,
was almost
have you built
there.
that?
Well, he probably hardened up.
Right.
So when you look at body types, and we see this in CrossFit as well, quite a lot of it's probably helped now because it's an untested sport.
Oh, is it
And
officially
ultimately,
untested?
yeah.
Right.
And apparently, like there's lots of information out there about PEDs in like recreational triathlons and stuff like that. And like, well, if people want to push it that way, go for it. So you maybe see like a distorted view of like body types in CrossFit, let's say. Ultimately, backtracking again, when I decided to be ultra competitive, it's like I need to be 185 pounds. I'm like 175 now. And the current CrossFit Games champion then was 185. But by the time I got there, he put on an extra 20 pounds. And I was drinking like 2 liters of raw goat's milk a day, like 5,000 calories, doing everything I could, training right. And I was like, it's not just genetics.
No.
However, in mountain biking, the body types of people that I want to see is that their genetic potential. So when you look at Brayton versus, say, Danny Hart, maybe he hasn't done that much strength and conditioning with us. Maybe he's not got that hard look. But ultimately, it comes down to genetics. Okay. And then when you're like, oh, this is the perfect, it's not perfect. And this is why I love mountain biking, because there's so many variables on how you are physically. So you're not better if you're taller or smaller or heavier or lighter.
No, we've got real range, haven't we?
Yeah, which is amazing for me because I get everyone to say, just reach your genetic potential of performance to a minimum standard for you, so then you can perform on the bike.
Yeah.
How do you know where the genetic, like the genetic ceiling is? How do you know where that is? And
you just bring them up quick,
right?
And when they're still engaged, you see probably where their engagement lessens. So I'm not going to train someone for 5 times a week unless maybe it's a Casper Woolley that struggles to put on a minimum amount to keep him safe and uninjured.
Right.
You know,
right.
where we're like, actually, by doing this and taking some time away from something else, will keep you on the bike longer. Otherwise, it's the spinning of plates of our approach of, actually, we want you better next week than last week. Because if you're riding a bike, you always want to be on top of your skills. You don't want to be the guy that follows a gym program for 6 months, gets back on the bike and expects to be magic on the bike.
Yeah.
So we're like, actually, it's like a more of a general physical preparedness. So we're always increasing with different blocks that are more subtle than like splitting it up into, we're now getting you strong. We're now getting you zone 2. We're now getting you pre-season.
Yeah. I'm not competing in anything, right? But to me, it's always, when I hear people going to the gym, for me has to be 100% sustainable. And I think that's like, I think that gets missed quite often, you know, like I feel like doing something that you're not going to be able to keep up, I don't really see any point in it. I like the idea of kind of, I don't know if it serves me well, but I like the idea of it being something that I can just keep doing forever. With that said, if you are going to compete and race, how do you work with kind of like a season and like ramping athletes up and keeping them in good form during the season? Like, what does that look like? Because I've never actually really done that. I've done that, I guess, through my friends and stuff, but I've always tried to be kind of flat in comparison to them.
I don't know what the perfect balance is, because ultimately the balance has to be with individuals then deciding on how much they feel they need to do. Some people do too little,
right,
but they don't enjoy the gym. And we don't want to remove them from an enjoyable scenario, lapping Morzine between 2 races, like get in the gym, miss a day. Like, I don't even want the responsibility to tell them to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like sport, and you hear it so much more now, I have to be enjoying myself to be performing well. What they mean there is the need to be in a comfortable environment where they feel like things are in their control and they're in that routine of familiarity.
Yeah.
That's where they're most comfortable, so they can allow themselves to do the things that got them into the sport. Taking them out of that when they don't want to, sometimes it's an encouragement to say, if you just do this minimum to just keep on top, you'll feel that benefit. So then it might be 1 session of plyometrics midweek, in that scenario where there's races all around and you don't want to distract them. Others are desperate to keep the progress. So actually, like Brayton was like, I'm in Thursday morning, absolutely crushing it, make it hard as possible, racing bloody British at the weekend. And one time he absolutely shredded. He's like, Jonny, I want to do 30 rope climbs. Race me. And I was like, are you sure?
Really,
So he did. And I was on like 29 and he was on 28 and he's zipping down. He like degloved his hands.
No way.
He's like, good fucking job. I won that race at the weekend. But he's like doing that to himself.
So it's completely varied, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is
literally
it's
doesn't
varied. So what I like to see myself as is not a dictator of the perfect program, more an educator and facilitator for people to make the choice.
Yeah.
Because then you get the best out of athletes when they can choose based on an educated position of what works for them to a degree.
So there are other trainers that would take more of like a rigid approach and just be like, I've made a course.
I'm not sure, to
and
be
this
honest.
is it.
I have
And you can't way away from it.
Sorry, yeah. I have seen that. So people have come to me and said, I've had this block.
Yeah, I'm
And I've done nothing.
Oh, right.
And they tested me here and tested me after, and I improved after this 3-month block. And they were like, fantastic, the program's working. But they didn't have the heart to say, I've done none of it. I've just been riding my bike.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not going to be holding you accountable or claiming that I've made you better. Like, this has to be in balance with your primary goal of getting skills on the bike and having that environment that is going to make you a better rider.
Yeah.
Not better in the gym. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such an interesting sport, man. Really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Brayton, who's like, and like Bruni, like they're kind of the same sort of like brick
Granite.
Then you've got Minar. I think out of arguably the GOAT, and I barely see him train. Like, you barely see, not that he doesn't, I'm not saying that, but it's not something that's broadcast, and it just makes you wonder, like.
But is he not a bit like, I'll show you some lines? Oh no, actually, someone follows him on the same team doing his lines, but he knows the following, so does different lines. He's not going to show you
for a reason.
He'll be like, I don't ride my bike for 6 months.
Yeah.
Of course he'll say that.
Yeah.
And everyone will be like, shit, I won't ride my bike for 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's riding.
so
He's
yeah.
riding like
isn't
an
it?
animal.
Yeah.
But he's not broadcasting any of his training, is he?
No, you're right.
You
It
don't
never
see
has.
any of it.
No, not really. No,
And
you're
I
right.
never have.
No.
I don't know. Maybe he does, and I just miss it. But
No, I've never seen
No,
it.
I've never seen it all.
and then equally, you get people. You get, obviously it's down to like body type, but you get people pulling out results like Troy, for instance, Brosnan and Danny. Like they're a lot smaller, and again, like bike setup, it must be completely different.
yeah.
Yeah.
The variables.
Yeah. And
Variables are mad.
Yeah.
I like using Danny as an example because I know from him being in my gym that he's not unfit.
Oh,
He's
no.
not, and he's not weak. His body type doesn't suggest that he trains,
Yeah.
which is a shame for his genetic makeup because I'm sure he would love to look jacked. And people say about Jackson, oh, well, he's obviously tiny, so it doesn't matter. But he is also training. And then when he develops, it's like he's a young boy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
of course he's not jacked.
Yeah.
But like, what I'm not saying is like you have to train to be the best. You can be the best. It's just your chances are lower because there's other variables that go into longevity, the amount of time you can practice if you're untrained. There's loads of things supporting the reasons to train. And I'm not saying train 6 days a week. You know, like our program, and often some of the best riders we have train twice a week for like an hour and a half. So we base the program around twice a week. And anyone can really train twice a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can add a third one and get a complete program that is probably enough for 95% of people, even pros.
How long does it take you to distinguish maybe an athlete's doing too much, maybe not doing enough? And also, it's a double barrel question. How much do you monitor someone as an athlete? Like, are they in constant communication with you? Because it must be a lot.
There's so much difference.
Right.
So some just crack on with
Yeah.
the off-the-shelf program. Ethan Creek.
Right.
Quiet lad, don't talk very much, just check in occasionally. But he, from day one, I think he's been doing it like 6 years now or something. Just off the shelf program, 2 or 3 times a week, blasting it. He loves it.
Right.
Other people want a super secret personalized program because they feel like that's what they need and other people get. And you're like, but you don't necessarily, because your primary skill base on the bike doesn't change if we give you juggling on a Bosu ball.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the super secret sauce specifically for your tastes is only then really to appease their belief that they need that.
And maybe it is something that might work. You might be like, I've got the secret sauce, I've got the secret recipe, I'm going to win this race.
How about this? Like
ego
suspension set. So likening it to somebody I can't name that might work for a suspension,
yeah,
you know, out in testing somewhere. And someone's come down.
Oh, they're doing like fake
and
twists.
like, this is and they've clicked 2 off and 2 on the rebound. Be like, try that. I think I've got it. They come down. Whatever you did was absolutely amazing. Absolutely sorted out, and it's exactly the same. But it's just a belief, then, isn't it?
But I think a lot of racers, particularly, obviously have a lot of. They have to think they're gonna make first place.
Yeah,
kind of
the top. Yeah, you can't get there unless you believe you're gonna.
So if you just know you've done everything you can in terms of training, that's what I kind of think. Like saying placebo makes it sound like it shouldn't have an effect almost. Maybe that's just my perception of placebo, but...
So how about this? You get to the end of a run and you're like, fuck, I felt my arms then. I was out of breath. I felt like I could have got a little bit more power on the pedals at the bottom. Then you've got that reason to train. Or you get a Brayton at the bottom of Fort William saying, I could do that straight after. That right there is not as hard as what I do in the gym.
Yeah.
And you're like, where would you rather be? Eliminate all doubt so you don't feel anything and you're ready to go at the bottom of a run. Then you know you've done enough.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to go up after a practice and doubt yourself on your physicality, because then that's one area of doubt that gets in the way of looking for the win.
Yeah, the mountain bike guys and the moto guys are great examples. I think with moto, you watch like a supercross or something, and whatever the moto is, 40 minutes, and they just come off and they're just like, yeah, cool. Just there's almost like no.
It's
so
like,
interesting. How unbelievably fit are you?
Between, like, the top 5 and then the rest of the pack, and they're even names that
they're all like heads down. They're done. Whereas Tomac's just stood there like, white brow, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and they're hitting the same line, and that line's like physical, isn't it? And like requires a lot of concentration. And by the end, people that are hitting it at the start have just they're just gassed, and they're like 10th in the world. Yeah, and the gap.
It's mad, isn't it? It's the same with mountain biking. They come, some athletes get to the bottom and they're not.
But then is that in that scenario down to physicality, which would be such a shame?
Yeah,
because it's like mountain biking is a skills-based sport. Why should it be down to physicality when it's in your control? Take it away.
Yeah.
Like a lot of female riders, like, oh yeah, if I was strong like the guys, but I'm like, if it was only strength, I could show you a girl I trained in CrossFit that's stronger than all of the guys on the bikes. Therefore, it's not an excuse. What is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have to be quite straight talking with some athletes as well? No.
I hate it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I'm like, probably a bit too averse to conflict, because I still like to have that idea that I'm an educator and it's their choice.
Right.
So if things then become that way, then occasionally we might separate in a amicable way. I wouldn't want to force somebody to do something they're not digging,
right,
or believing in, even. You know, when I can give as much education about it as I can, and if then that, even if the communication was wrong, there's only so much you can try, and you want to drag someone into that. You know?
Yeah. So when did you start to separate off from doing more of the CrossFit training and become fit for racing? Was it, what were you called before? Fit for Life? I don't know.
No, it was CrossFit Cumbria.
Oh, right.
So, yeah,
CrossFit
so it was
Cumbria.
CrossFit Cumbria gym.
Right.
And actually at the same time, I had an online weightlifting program for Olympic weightlifting because I saw a need in CrossFit for people to get better at weightlifting. And that was more successful than Fit4Racing at the time for the first 3 months.
Okay.
But then I decided I couldn't do all of it, plus work a full-time job in forensics. Or like half the job. YouTube. Fuck me. One time I had to pay back 74 hours of YouTube that I watched.
Did you really?
Yeah,
What,
I didn't
they
even
seen it?
realise.
They could see what you were doing.
Yeah. So they monitored it.
74.
Yeah. So I was like so into it. I was like, I couldn't even work because I was like, oh, what about this? And I was researching on when you could find everything that I was self-educated on YouTube whilst basically working.
Here's a challenge for our viewers on YouTube. Comment below how many hours you think you'd have to pay back if you were to pay back your YouTube viewers.
Great question.
Yeah, that'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see. You don't no context, just put a number.
You might have to private message though, because some people get tracked down and be like, hold on, Dave, you commented on that.
10 grand.
Sorry.
And what does it look like? I just am imagining what you're meant to be doing whilst you're looking at YouTube. What were you meant to be?
So ultimately my job was to identify fingerprints from crime scene marks. So you would, most of it was on the desk with a fingerprint form and a glass, basically like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Searching through. So this is how then I would listen to podcasts whilst doing it, and that was quite good because I could educate myself as well. But then stuff would get in my mind. I was like, I just need to look at that.
Yeah.
And then I go and like just type occasionally, or like flip a screen if someone walks past. Like, yeah, I'm clearly working, but oh yeah, that technique in slow motion. So it was pretty much desk work, but for a period,
74 hours.
oh mate, that was at my worst. That was when I like fully shut off from investing myself in that, and like I have an element of guilt about that because I was just in the wrong place and I was so distracted by something I was more passionate about.
Yeah.
But there was a time when I was performing really well, but I was still getting shit for time on the internet. I'm like, I'm in the wrong job here. I can't be managed where you're owning every hour of my day when I do a good job when I'm focused, but I need that release time on the things that are in my mind that I need to solve problems, you know.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I can
Like,
see
I
that
can't
being
lie
horrible,
about it
yeah.
either. I couldn't lie there and pretend and just
No.
play the game. I'm like, this isn't my fucking life, you know.
Speaking about things and changing your life and having great things change your life, this ad break.
Hello and welcome to the ad break. These are the Adidas FiveTen Trail Cross GTX. What does GTX stand for? Gore-Tex, Ollie. That's right. Now Gore-Tex is what we're going to be testing today. It's the waterproof nature.
Yeah.
We need to try and get this across both visually and in audio.
Yes.
What we're going to need is
Reality of UK biking, which is our
river.
awesome. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'll go first.
Look at that. First test down. We're cooking on gas, dude. Ollie, mate.
Yeah.
Why are we pushing up this hill? These stealth rubber soles have like a bit on the toe that's purposefully what we're doing right now. It's working.
Do you know any good trails like around here?
Yeah, here. Dude, final test. Then a bunny hop over a log into a swamp.
Alright, let's get it. We could have just not gone riding and just walked around in this puddle.
The Adidas FiveTen Trail Cross GTX.
We're back in.
We're back in.
We're back in.
We're back in.
I wanted to ask you what the most common mistakes you see in the gym when people are training for riding.
For riding.
Specifically, yeah.
Let's split into two: the super specific and then the not too specific.
Please.
So the super specific is seeing the stuff like we do on Instagram and thinking that makes up the majority of a program. What we call that is like the sport specific sprinkle on the top of a good strength base and conditioning that is general. So don't do too much of those fancy things that you see, because they don't make the difference if you don't have everything else right. And then on the other side, focusing on one particular area, which you will get benefit from. So lots of people like just do bench, squats, deadlift, increases strength, Wendler 5x5. Yes, that will be great, but it's not all of it, because ultimately, like I did strength only, and I felt like cardio on the bike was on the bike, so I'd just ride my bike for fitness. It was only when that middle area of conditioning came in that I really felt like an athlete on the bike. Right. You know, and that's when you feel the difference between being able or slowly coming up and actually making a massive leap in how many runs you can do, but how powerful you feel at the bottom of each run, which made the biggest difference for me. Is not just like your raw strength, your absolute strength, but actually like feeling like you can move around with it as well.
Yeah.
You know, over prolonged times. So conditioning in the middle. So don't just focus on strength, I guess, is the mistake that I see a lot of people. It's not even a mistake. It's just like not an optimal way to approach it.
Yeah, I think that's...
If you dig it and you hate conditioning, do it. And this is the problem we're in now, is people love something. They don't understand why people don't all do that. You're like, and I'm not saying like one way is the best. I'm like, you do what you love, do it really well, and that's probably going to be enough until you don't love it, and then try something else.
Yeah.
Just get amongst some
I think social media's got a
consistency.
lot to answer for as well with this stuff, right? Of people just seeing these crazy lifts or these crazy movements and just being like, right, I need to do that. And it's like, no, you don't, dude. Like, you just chill. You don't need to do any of that.
I think probably next week. So we're going to start doing 2 posts a day for the algorithm, because I'm full on. Like, I'm going to be Insta famous.
2 a day.
Yeah, I know it's going to be
lot,
hardcore.
yeah.
But we do the talking one that is generally educational, and we enjoy doing that to kind of, you know, people can follow that and kind of build an understanding of what we're trying to do and how to help them. And then we'll do a non-talking one, which is basically some crazy movement or something punchy like 15, 20 seconds. And we filmed the first bunch last week. I was like, handstand renegade rows. Against the wall with 2 dumbbells, handstand press up row. I was like,
Jeez.
1% of people will be able to, like I did 4 and like fell off the wall. I was like, I think we've gone too far. It might make it on the story. And we're just like,
Yeah, why not?
oh fuck it, I'll post it. See how many
Post
people
it.
like that's going to be the crux of their workouts now. 3 times a week, renegade row, handstand push-up. Or maybe I nearly name dropped another trainer. Then maybe they'll start putting it in their program.
Maybe. What? So you obviously got like a pretty good business head on you as well, and you turn this into a legit business, right? So what? Unpack that. How did you start looking at what wasn't happening in mountain biking, and then start building something which you thought should be happening? I think. Sorry, double barrel again. I just listened to James Smith's book, Not Your Life Coach, right?
Yeah.
And he speaks loads about how he became a PT, and it sounds like it's quite similar to your way in a way. He kind of just fell into it, and it was just like, I just feel called to do it sort of thing. And, you know, various people asking him to do it as well. So yeah, what was your trajectory? Great word. I'll take that. To create an actual business and then, running with it.
I guess my life has probably been defined by blocks of time where I've had an obsession over a particular thing.
Yeah.
And so then my obsession became video.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Right.
I bought a camera, a really good one, FS700. Didn't even realize that I had to buy a lens separately. Didn't autofocus.
That was a stinger, wasn't it? When you found out that it didn't come with a lens. Looking in the box.
Yeah, it's like, what? Shit, that's like 900 quid or something. Get the cheapest, shittest lens that I have to autofocus and learn. So back then, everything was 200 frames a second because you get away with so much. So everything was ultra slow-mo, dark, and like just good music and pace. But that was like my creativity coming out, where I was like, I'm fully into this video stuff. And then because I was into it, and I was like, I'll post it because I enjoy it. So I would spend sometimes a full day just immersed in a 15-second story video and put it on and just be well chuffed that someone saw it.
That's cool.
And then it would disappear and I wouldn't use it again just because I was into it. But I guess at a similar time, when I'd spent all of that time in work, researching, training, I was fully immersed in everything that it took to be a high performer.
Okay.
And different degrees of psychology. And I think the psychology then transitioned into actually I have a gym now, and it could be a better environment if it was a better business.
Right.
My wife got pregnant and I was like, what do I tell my son? I work fingerprints for money and I leave you every night to the gym because I love it. Like, well, I'd like to be able to tell my son what my parents didn't tell me. You find what you love most and you never have to worry about money because you do everything around it. There's maybe things that you don't want to do, but the ultimate goal of that achievement of the thing you love most makes you do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like riders going to the gym and they don't like it. They want to better themselves, so they do it. Much like that, I was like, right, business. And I read a book, Purple Cow, which was about marketing.
Okay.
One of the first Seth Godin ones.
Oh, is it?
Which
Okay.
really good.
Yeah.
Someone gave it to me as well. I didn't buy it. I read it and I was like, this is brilliant. So I don't think I read a training book after that for years because I was just reading marketing, business, self-development. And actually what I realized after a few of the key ones like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Start with Why, and the principles generally related to me the same way I was kind of focusing on fitness and performance. I was like, I have those skills for business as well. I just need the knowledge. So I have the drive and I have that underlying desire for better. And then just, I guess, self-education, reading every night. Because then son was born. We don't have the TV on at bedtime, reading books. And I just got hooked on books, podcasts, audiobooks now.
Yeah.
I love to
Game
drive
changer.
down because I listen to a new book. Tony Robbins, actually, this is a funny story.
I'm listening to Tony Robbins one now.
Oh, yeah.
The money Matters one or something.
Oh yeah, I'm
Money
not
master
onto
the game.
I can't quite bring myself to manage my money yet.
No,
because
me either. That's why I'm reading it or listening to it. It's exactly for that reason.
I'm like, I need to. There's a need there,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to stop my fun.
Yeah.
That's a different story. Sign up to the Fit for Racing program. Solve all of my problems. We just need like 1,500 people. And we'll be
Sweet.
I can afford someone to manage my money then. That isn't my wife.
Dream.
Anyway, back to that. Where were we at on that?
Talking
Oh,
about
listen,
audio
books.
books.
Books
Yeah,
and
Tony
stuff.
Robbins.
Yes, I got a random email or message from a girl that wanted to do the Dakar on an enduro bike.
Okay.
And she'd never ridden a motorcycle. Like, you
Yeah.
are mental.
Wow.
She's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to your gym and I'm going to live there. And I was like, okay.
What made her want to do the Dakar if she hadn't ridden a motorbike?
Because she just one
Instagram.
day, bam. Yeah, she's like, I'm going to do that.
I want a roof tent on my Dakar bike. Have barbecues in the evening.
So she was just so mental, and like she had this idea, I can do anything, I'm going to do that. And her and a partner were into the Tony Robbins stuff. And they were like, right, we're going to be financially free, and that's what I want to do. But to do that, I need to commit myself and go and live in a gym. So she lived up on this mezzanine floor and like slept there for a month and trained every day. I was like, you are mental.
Wow.
But then they invited me on this course down in London. It was like an immersive, it was actually called Never Work Again. But back to the books, it was like all of the principles were the same about the business speakers there and everything in between. And it all came down to self and what mattered to you in the principles inside, and then kind of extending that into your business.
Okay.
So the motivations aren't money. For me, it's not money. It's beyond that. It's probably back to the original acceptance from my parents. But that's an innate desire that I'm quite happy to not deal with because it's pushing me, you know?
Yeah. There's a beautiful point in life where you're doing something that you absolutely love. It's quite an amazing thing, and I think I'm definitely feeling that at the moment. Like super, just feel lucky.
Just
every,
like this
every
last
day.
hour or so.
Yeah, the last hour. Some call this the highlight. But man, it is, and there is a lot of power. Like, yeah, some of those books are a little bit cringy and a little bit cliche and stuff. But if you can pick something like that up, and it just gives you that little bit of a nudge to be like, yeah, you know what? I absolutely love, I don't know, whatever it is, CrossFit or fingerprints or whatever. And you can actually go and follow that journey. Because there's a lot of people that don't. Like, it's a hell of a lot of people that don't.
It's such a shame.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have
social
those
constraints, beliefs in what they should do.
Yeah.
So how I got into forensics, because it was a really well-paid job.
So it's a parents thing, probably.
300 people applied. I got the job. Not because I was intellectual, but I was good at the actual job. They gave 64 people a test looking at fingerprints. It's probably because I have issues going on that I could actually like Rain Man that shit. I'd be like, yeah, that's him. That's him.
No way, yeah.
And so then I had like a skill for it. They only interviewed 3 out of those 64. And because I scored well on the test, they took me on. But from that day, I was like, I can be the best.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me. It wasn't the work. It was the feeling of being the best. But then eventually, when I was like, actually, I still get the same amount of shit for not clearing my dishes in the communal kitchen, regardless of my work output. Or I have to pay back these 74 hours of YouTube time, regardless of my work output. I'm like, this is so fucked up. I need to get out of here before I'm sacked.
Yeah.
But then I kind of lost the passion for being the best because I became the worst because of the environment I was creating, not my work output. Whereas for me, this is really good for my business now, is like, I can strive for best because I'm involved in it. And actually, if I don't wash my dishes, then it's only Jonny, my videographer, that might complain about it, which he doesn't. So then that's fine. I actually have a cleaner now, so
there you go.
I have to apologise to her every week.
So how big's the team now then?
So there's actually 3 of us,
Okay.
2 full-time, me and Jonny, the videographer. So I'll write programs. He'll actually put them on to the internet, either the app or the website. He'll edit the program videos, upload those with timestamps. And that takes him like 2.5, 3 days maybe.
Right.
So then after that, we get our free time to ride bikes.
Yeah.
and try and get some Insta bangers and do some content.
Okay.
And then we have a girl that works on a Friday, the accountant. And Ange, the cleaner, 2 hours on a Saturday.
So who are you working with currently? What's your current roster look like? Obviously, everyone kind of is that's signed up Fit for Racing, but the teams that you work with and
so actually this year, so 23 was the first time I worked with a team.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Oh, I didn't
And
know
as
that.
a performance manager.
Okay. Awesome. Who do you work with?
That was YT Industry, YT Mob.
Okay.
Yeah.
So downhill and enduro, which was actually, on the face of it, a brilliant opportunity to do something new with an enduro team with Jack, Texie, Casper, and already good with some more potential in the tank to kind of prove the Capra as well on that race scene. But then I'd already worked with Oisin for 8 years.
Okay.
So it was kind of natural then. That's probably why, one of the reasons I was asked to do the team stuff. But my idea of that, so we got them, the first time they were together as a team was a performance camp in January with us. It's like, we'll just make
Quite
these.
early that too. January, innit?
Yeah. And then they went off to Finale to do the bike camp. So
Right.
there was no bikes with us. I was like, let's build the team. Let's do all of the stuff so that they can set off well. And the intention actually was that we would have a team where we could gamify a little within. But actually, when everyone came, it had so many individual needs. We couldn't do too much similar between the athletes. So that didn't really pan out. But nice to kind of have some responsibility. But what I did find was that varying needs between people made me a little bit like, oh, is performance manager for a team the right way for me? Where I like to feel like people choose me.
Right.
Because of what they
Yeah, I can
believe.
see that,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's buy-in. And so in the team, it maybe took a lot longer to get some trust, prove yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But then if people come to me, they're kind of already committed to be open to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could probably tell them to do anything, they'd be up for it. But at the start of a team, we're like, here's Jonny, here's the performance manager. Jack's just got off a flight from Australia. His jet lag just fucking is not talking. Like, how do I get this guy to like me? But it's proof over time, and I think the time in between the block of racing there was good because we got that time to show a difference between two.
Right.
And
So what was your role like? What if you could break down that role from start, and then what did it look like through the year? Do you go to the races? Were you
some of them, yeah, key ones, but like
Okay.
I'd said at the start, I was like, I don't need to be at any really because I don't want to be a cheerleader.
your work's done? Before
Yeah,
as well, right?
like the people that I didn't want to personal train. I don't want to be relied on. I want to be an educator and facilitator for someone to make the choice to do it to better themselves, and then when they're at races, not rely on anything external.
Yeah.
They've got the skills themselves because ultimately they're the ones that do the work. They're the ones responsible for their results. And if they need a psychologist, fantastic, find one. If they need a physio, nutritionist, whatever. So my role would have been, I guess, a coordinator of other people as well
Right.
as the underlying fitness program and what they were doing physically.
Yeah, what in terms of like warm-ups and stuff do you do for, is that part of your,
Yeah, again, it's buy-in and what people are already used to.
yeah,
Because people, by the time I get them, have a routine.
yeah,
And a lot of that is psychological as well.
It's tough to tell Jack Moyer to
Yeah.
not do that thing you've been doing.
get on the star jumps, dog, we need you on the star jumps at the top.
And he's like, kind of the fastest in the world, dude. So how about no?
But for me, like when I used to CrossFit competition, loved it because you'd all be in the warm-up area. And I wasn't as big as a lot of the guys. Like I went to the last one, I won it, and I never did one after that.
Right.
Went to Manchester, and you do online qualifications, and there's heats. So you're in the top heat, and then you sit in the line where you qualified. And I was in seat number 2 because I qualified second. So I need to beat one guy. And I sat down first, waiting to go in the warm-up. Fucking huge guys walking past, like, is this guy like just watching? And I'm there just warming up, you know, and everyone's like peacocking amongst themselves, thinking, well, I don't need to peacock for him until after the first workout. Then everyone wants to be my best friend. And then I'm at the end, like, you've been doing multiple workouts a day preparing for this, haven't you? It's like, no. Like, really? Oh, God, I've been doing it for like 6 months. Like, looking sprightly, feeling like shit, but like, I fucking got you. Like, I wish I could somehow get the enjoyment that I felt of that pre-competition into some people that feel nerves. But I know it's such a personality difference.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is conditioned from probably archery, where you're nervy and you step up to a line and the parts around that, you basically easing the nerves, but building excitement.
Right.
It's such a hard job to tell someone this is what you should do. And by doing that, you also fuck with other people. Like, how do you do that? You know?
True.
I like the idea of it though.
Yeah,
I always-
you could go so badly though.
Yeah.
I always loved the idea. Like I remember when I saw my first Supercross race, and I saw them come over the line, and I couldn't believe they weren't all mates.
Oh, yeah, they
Mountain
just
bike,
ride off.
Everyone's friends,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Supercross, yeah, they walk straight past each other. They don't high five, nothing.
Yeah, it's
First
true,
and
that.
second, there'll be like words exchanged, shouting through a helmet, and then rush off with your mechanical.
Well,
back
like you say, not mates. We had Brad Todd and Brad Anderson training in the gym, mates. Like, had banter and that, and then they took that to a race. Brad Anderson broke his nose because he was giving him too much shit.
Really?
Yeah, like, what's too much shit? I've got to watch
Yeah,
myself.
Brad Anderson. Brad Anderson was a wild cat, eh? He was fun.
Oh, mate, yeah. We were out one
he was
night
fun.
with
Geordie guy, right?
Yeah. So
You know
we
what
were
I
out
mean?
with Jonny Walker.
British Championship motor guy. Yeah, a bit
Oh.
rough around the edges was Brad.
Yeah,
Nice dude.
such a legend, such
Yeah.
a legend. So we were out on a night out in Keswick in the early days, and Jonny Walker, proper grafter, he's like harder than he makes out, I think. His dad's like a bit of a hard case too. And not to do him any injustice, but we're having like conversations about being kids and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I remember this time, like reminiscing with Brayton, because he was a bit younger. Like, we got into this snowball fight and it got out of hand, and like this guy got punched, and then Brad Chirps was like, "Hi, there's this time when I was a kid, like, and we got out of this club, and it's like, hey, you've been stabbed." Just like it was like the same level as a snowball fight. I was like, "Fucking hell, Brad."
Oh man, yeah, we need some more. We need some more of that. Well, actually, maybe we
Stabbings.
don't. I actually wouldn't. No, not stabbings. No, I actually don't think it suits mountain biking in the beef. I don't know.
No.
Nah,
There's bits of it you hear it, but it's not like that in the pits, is it?
it's all quite like you see it all. I think it's very public, isn't it? It's like,
I guess it's just you're not really. You're actually against the clock. You're not against.
I think a lot of the beef,
True.
if there is any, seems to get also, if there is anything, maybe just pit beef or whatever, like stays within an industry. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we in mountain biking, we don't have all those like journalists that are out to get a scoop. Whereas in moto, there is a lot of those guys that are like writing shit or social media stuff. Whereas mountain biking does seem to be a bit more like, I don't know what the word is, but a bit. Yeah, we'll just leave that.
I guess you don't really take anyone out on a mountain.
Yeah,
bike,
it is
do you?
different.
Four-cross,
It
there
is
used to
different.
be beef, didn't there?
Yeah.
Four-cross and
Yeah.
dual, or Eliminator, there used to be beef. I remember.
But that probably
Kareem
plays into
Moore
their
and Will
hands.
Longdon.
So you imagine you're in a race
Yeah.
and you can intimidate someone enough, like Verstappen. He basically wins every corner that he commits to because people are like, he's not going
He's not
to
gonna
quit.
stop.
Okay, yeah.
You need to crash a number of cars and be a bully,
Yeah.
but now it works. Like, if you can get that in moto and you get that, you don't have to be hard. You just have to act it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not have people not want to piss you off, then, you know, it might influence it. And ultimately, everyone wants to win and influence that.
Yeah. Barsha, imagine having that nickname. Bam Bam.
Bam Bam.
And you're like,
So true.
you only
Yeah,
have
but
to
you can
turn
always,
up
like
and
you
people
can
are
watch
like,
a race and
"Whoa."
you can see people be like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
I can hear that behind
Yeah,
me.
totally, yeah.
It can only be one guy. It's only one guy revving the balls off a gas
That's a
guy.
skill in itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's-
Speaking of skills,
Yeah, go on.
how about that segue into an ad break?
We're good here.
Stay close.
I like this. Yeah, I like this.
Hey,
Hey, what are you looking at there?
mate, I
It
just
looks.
browsing. You know, if people are probably listening to this episode, I mean, I was sat in the episode and it left me with some questions about nutrition.
Yeah.
And wanting to make sure that if you're going to be doing maybe some of these exercises Johnny's been talking about, that you're recovering properly
Yeah.
and that you're supplementing efficiently, but also getting a bit of a bargain.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing, mate. I was just looking at our sponsor, Peak Supps, and they've got this deal, right? It's called the Ride Companion Bundle. You can go on there, right? And it's going to give you everything you need to improve riding, recovery, and make sure that you're making the most out of all your workouts.
Wow,
okay?
amazing.
So I'll tell you what's in it.
Oh, I'd love to know what's
man.
in it. Yeah.
So you head over, right? First of all, go on to peaksups.co.uk. What was it?
Is it peaksups.co.uk?
Yeah, you go there. And then you go on the bundles, and then you can find the Ride Companion Bundle.
Hey, I can see the sticker sheet from here, dude. Look at that
Free
thing.
sticker sheet in there.
Yeah.
So then you're going to choose a pre-ride drink.
Okay, so this is a pre-ride. This is what you take before you go out. It's hyping the game up.
It's
is it?
hyping the game
Yeah,
up. Yeah,
okay.
it's going to make sort of like soundtracks play in your head.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's going to give you those pre-ride vibes. Then you've got your intra drink. Okay, so this is one that you put in your water bottle. You take it out with you, and then you're just going to keep sipping on this. It's like electrolytes, vitamins, all that sort
Is
of
there
stuff.
a tricarb one in there?
Mate, there
Because
is a
you've
tricarb
been talking about
one
the
in there.
tricarb one
Yeah,
in
the
there. and
tricarb is so good. So
Keeps
you
you
get a
going.
tricarb, you get 20 servings. They only do it in a fruit punch flavour.
Hey, that's the flavour I wanted.
The best flavour.
Yeah.
So that's why. So you get your fruit punch, tricarb, and you get some electrolytes in there as well, which is a tube of 20.
Nice.
And then you got your post-ride drink. Okay, this is where your gains come in. All right?
Ah, that's what I've been doing wrong.
Yeah, man.
So what do you take post-ride then?
So you get yourself a whey protein and you can choose your flavour. There's tons of different flavours on there. Personally, chocolate or butterscotch. That's my deal.
Right. What
Okay.
other flavours are there?
It's a great question, dude.
Actually,
and
yeah, I think butterscotch is the one that I go for.
let's go with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah,
for now.
Butterscotch,
Because
yeah.
then we'd have to mess
Yeah,
around.
absolutely, yeah.
And then we're going to throw in a few freebies if you get the bundle. So you
What,
can,
you get... Hold on. You get more?
Yeah, you get more. It's nuts, dude. More. But we worked out an amazing deal with these guys. So you're going to get a protein shaker. It's BPA free.
Oh, nice.
So that's
It's
good.
BPA-free. That is really good.
And
yeah.
that's a shaker to mix all your drinks. And then you're also going to get the exclusive Ride Companion sticker sheet designed by...
Yeah, that's right.
You did it.
Dude, so that all of this must come on like a lorry or something. Like this is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't come in a lorry. It's going to
No.
get delivered to your house.
Okay, so how much is it? Like, is it? Would you say
There's a deal on at the moment.
3,000?
No, it's close.
Okay,
Bit less.
can I keep guessing? 1,000. That'd be
Close,
insane.
but I mean
It's
that
less
is what
again.
it should be. But we're going to go even less than that.
What are we talking?
We're talking £59.98p
You-
plus
you-
an extra bit of discount if you use the Ride Companion code, which is the Ride Companion.
The Ride Companion.
Yeah, that's going to knock you an extra 10% off.
So that's the Ride Companion for 10% off.
Yeah.
An already crazy deal.
Already crazy deal, but obviously not just that. Peak Supps have got loads of different stuff on here. Look, dude, I was just looking before. These are the top products at the moment. Something that I'm loving, vitamin C powder.
Yeah.
Big deal. Love that stuff. You can get yourself all sorts of stuff, dude. They got what else they got? Bone, muscle, and recovery stuff. Sleep complexes, nootropics. The list is endless.
I tell you what, we're fast approaching Christmas. If you don't know what to get your partner and they ride, this is a solid Christmas present, isn't it?
Yeah, really solid. Yeah, I'd be stoked with this.
Yeah. I might get you one.
Yeah, do it.
All
Yeah,
right.
you should. All right, so yeah, peaksupps.co.uk. Enter the promo code The Ride Companion. That's going to knock you 10% off anything and everything on site. And that's it, and that's that. Thank you, Peak Supps, for helping the boys out and looking after the companionship.
Thanks, Peak Supps.
You.
Quickly, go.
I think we should do some listener questions.
Yeah.
Just because there is quite a few. And just like you love your Fit for Racing subscribers or app people, whatever you call, what do you call them? Clients? Let's call them clients. Way better calling them a client than an app person. App person. We love our listeners, so it'd be good to get some questions to you because I think there'll be some good ones in there. And I think there's so much you can talk about when it comes to training and fitness for mountain biking and stuff like that, which we'll have to get you back on to do more of that. But I think some of this stuff might
specifics in the future.
Yeah.
Like, we could maybe break it down and be like, right, this is what you maybe need to focus on. But ultimately,
Specifics. How about as specific as this question from Leighton Starks? What brand are your black gym pants?
Ah, really?
it's a great
good,
question.
isn't it?
But what date was that?
Ooh.
Now, Fox Racing.
Okay.
See?
See? You won't get him.
So Fox Racing have just done a performance line, which was mega. And actually, one of the British guys approached me about it, being like, this would be really good. And then it got to the Euro guys. And ultimately, I was approached years ago about doing shorts or attire that you would wear in the gym, but also wear on the bike. I was like, I'm not going to commit to this because it's another business outside of what I'm doing now, but there's definitely scope for that because we've had riders in and they wear biking stuff and they just look out of place.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing for riders is actually getting comfortable in a gym. And then the next level is I want to identify as the sport that I do. I am a mountain biker. I'm not a gym sharker. I'm not a Lululemoner.
Yeah.
And so now the opportunity is actually you got this fucking sick kit. There's good performing kit that you can wear in the gym and on the bike. Identify as a mountain biker in the gym. Sorry, a Fit for Racing subscriber. And then perform really well in both.
Nice.
There we go. So now I'm entirely Fox performance wear.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And this is all. It is the performance wear range is meant for the gym. Yeah.
Some of it's both though. Yeah, it's like the long,
cool.
like the jerseys and stuff. Some of the shorts a bit short, but yeah, there's a
Quads are the new biceps. You gotta get them out.
Yeah, if you're a gravel rider, yeah. I was just like flex my quad. Let's start doing this. I've started. I was going to transition into something else then, but
A girl? No. We got. Get you again. Afrofield. God. Afrofield. Does he take his hat off in bed?
No,
Nice.
no, she likes it.
Okay.
Okay. Funny story there, but I'll not tell it. I'll tell it another day.
Okay.
Okay. Jack Evans, best ratio of CrossFit to riding for winter period.
Riding as much as you can. if you're a 9 to 5 worker, always get out the weekends. Still, stay on top of it. If you're getting a little bit more semi-professional or like really into it, hobbyist, maybe no CrossFit, Fit for Racing, because it's the best parts of CrossFit, a little bit more specific for riding.
Mm-hmm.
If you really love CrossFit, then do it. And just work to your limit of energy that you have for it, keeping your enjoyment, and find the balance. If you could choose and you have opportunity to do as much of any part of it as you can, ride your bike 3 times, get in the gym 3, have a day off.
Brilliant.
That's that.
Who do you look up to in the fitness space? As far as it's obvious what we maybe spoke about, other people looking up to you.
There's no one.
There's nobody. I am it. I am the fitness space.
That is gangster. That is. I just watched him think. No, he's just searching. There's nothing.
I've never considered that. Yeah, I'm not. No, but like really weird.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anyone. I'm like, oh, I'd love to do what James Smith does.
Interesting.
I'm not like
Cool.
I look across the board at everyone doing everything, and I'm like, I like what they're doing in that industry.
You got into it different though, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got into it. You haven't got into it through that. I quite like that about your story. Actually, you're saying you come from archery and forensics. Like that's ridiculous. But like that's
Warhammer.
That's like a bottom. Yeah, exactly. But that is that's a cool approach. That's not just like seeing the thing and replicating it to a level.
Yeah.
It's like finding your own way, isn't it? It's quite good.
I guess that's what pisses me off about people trying to copy us. Is like,
Yeah.
I found myself here after 42 years of landing on where I'm supposed to be. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm rewarded for the passion I have for something. And everything that went before it led me here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not like I set out to be a fitness coach because I saw that guy that inspired me. Be like, I want to be like him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be me somewhere that I can thrive and enjoy. And actually, it was my passions along the way that got me to here.
Yeah.
If it was slightly different by 1 degree, like the whole oil tanker thing, I could end up South Pole or North Pole, and I could be doing something completely different, shaping surfboards somewhere, in a hut.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to know that it hasn't just happened to me, but it's where I should be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not like a I like dreamlining, where you can imagine something in the future, but that's all like independent of not like using something that's already been done. And I think like the app, we do have an app,
Yeah.
but that's just the first part, and the plans, the streamlining, like go far beyond that.
Right.
Probably like Elon Musk. He's never going to be on Mars. The app might never do what we can do in the time we have to get there. But what I imagine it could do is nowhere right now. No one's got it. I'm not taking something and adapting it.
Right.
It's going to be like brand new shit.
That's interesting. It's hard to do. It's hard to have.
It's hard to know what that, like for you
Yeah.
guys, like what could that be?
Yeah.
But if I tell you, some bastard's going to say
Well,
that.
that's true. But it's
The app
hard.
would be useful on Mars. Mars looks like Rampage, and
What's the gravity like?
yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to do some working out, aren't you?
Is it heavier?
Oh, good question. We looked.
We did look at that.
We
once.
did actually look at that, and I can't remember now.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I should ask my
Mars
8-year-old
gravity.
son. He would know
He'd know.
I
what's
feel
closer.
like it's in between here and the moon.
What?
I feel like it's in between here. And
Oh, I
the
thought
moon.
you were saying Mars is not between here and the moon.
No, not geographically. Gravity-wise, I think.
Oh, right.
Doug, can you look it up just so that we're trying to fact check things, where we can.
Yeah, dig it up, Doug. While you dig it up, I'll just do another question.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. It's me going on a stupid tangent.
No, it's,
I
it's
like
great.
the idea of mountain biking on Mars if it's got less.
Oh, there we go.
It's what?
38% gravity.
And what is it on the moon? Sorry.
38%. I don't know what a percentage of gravity is. What's?
Well, I guess if you consider
38% of your weight here, so
yeah, so it's, and then the moon is. I feel like now 38% seems like.
okay, moon is 1/6, so that's
Do you think Mars would be like Rampage? Yeah, I think it'd be like Utah up there.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've looked at their buggy on there, the footage. You
Oh,
can
really?
see it the whole time.
Do they not have a mountain that's like 3 times Everest? It's like
Really?
huge scale.
It's gnarly. It's so cool.
That's cool.
How cool it is. There's a remote control car up there right now, just bombing around. And it's got a drone on it as well. And the drone takes off.
No,
and,
that's so future.
And they do
then.
all of these like missions and stuff.
That's cool.
It's amazing, yeah.
Okay, about 17% on the moon, 38% on Mars, so a little bit more gravity than.
17% on the moon.
Also, Mars is 38.
No, it's
17.
38.
So the moon is.
So you're a third of your weight, basically.
Moon, you're
Just
a
over.
16th of your weight.
Ah,
Can you
So-
just do the order?
So,
I'm too stupid.
so
it's funny because no one will be able to hear this either. They can just hear us.
moon.
So I actually got it right. Did I get it
Yeah,
right?
so there's,
Huh?
yeah.
Okay, so Earth, Mars, Moon.
Yeah.
So it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Not geographically though.
No.
We want to make that clear.
Love it.
But yeah, fit for racing programs could be useful in one of those Mars
Actually,
pods.
The less gravity, the less you're going to need it, isn't it?
That's true. We could all. Oh, imagine it be
You
heavenly.
launch
we could
yourself
all
off
just be
anything.
Like doughballs.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Dave Mirra and
Just
BMX.
sending-
Tail whips.
Yeah.
Wow. there you
Actually,
go.
maybe like more fat mass would actually help.
It probably
you like
would.
send it, but then your velocity is not quite as much, so you just need to absorb the landing rather than like muscle out of it.
You could reach terminal velocity way quicker if you had an extra. If you had a gut. So like maybe actually fit for racing on Mars might be like ice cream.
Fat for racing. Fat for Mars racing.
Fat for racing. That's great.
Right.
After you. You got one.
Have I got one? I actually think this is a really good question from Tomic Limov. How to know how much to train? You've kind of answered it a lot, but just I think that is a good question. How do you know? Is there any way you could tell someone a good way of calculating whether they're doing too much or too little?
So generally, we follow a 3 on, 1 off. So 3 weeks of building, 1 week of reloading, we'll call it, where we can coach new movements at lower intensity to let your body recover. That way, almost everyone can fit into that. So if you work hard for 3 weeks, take 1 week at a lower intensity, like 60%, then that generally works.
Nice.
If you want to optimize it and you're new to training, just fucking blast it as hard as you feel the desire to until you don't make any progress. But the point is, don't continue without quantifying progress. And what we saw a lot of in CrossFit was people training for years and years and years and just going through the motions and making no progress.
Right.
Maybe they didn't have the desire to, but if you really want progress, you got to quantify it. So test yourself. So like, for instance, if you were doing squats twice a week and you're new to squatting, you'll make gains quick. Add 2.5 kilos each time and you might go 6 months and still get stronger. Why take time off? But don't go 6 months if your gains stop after 3 weeks. Take time off, reset,
Right.
change the movement, change the stimulation.
Right.
So what we do is the 3 weeks, then the week off to reload, coach new movements, new stimulation. So there's an old school strength training camp, Westside Barbell.
God,
Had this,
documentary on that is so good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the conjugate method was as much juice as you can possibly have. Then after that,
Can you take a clip of that?
max.
That's the clip that goes.
Yeah, without that.
No context.
Get that straight out of context, yeah.
and then it's key lifts and maxing out all of the time. And as soon as you stop maxing out, change. Don't like even deload because there's not so much gear. You just change the stimulus. So what your body does is it tries to get into a state of comfort. So when you give it stress, it then gets used to the stress because that's why we're brilliant organisms. So then you have to change it and re-stress it. If it's still making progress to adapt to the stress, keep giving it the stress.
It's funny you say that because I've literally just started doing that in my own training
Yeah.
journey. So I'm just enjoying, like, I hate the word bodybuilding because it's just not me. Like, look at me, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm enjoying like trying to bulk. So I've gone from this like really regimented, right? Let's say choosing an exercise. Okay, dumbbell chest press. 32s, that's what I do. I do 10 reps. I do 10 reps.
Are you flexing here? 32s, 10 reps.
All right, 20. No, so 32s, 10 reps, and I'd do 3 sets. And then I'd just be like, cool, done it. And then I'd do that for 2 months, and then I'd go up to 34. So that's my old way. And then I just started, there's a YouTuber called Sam Sulek.
Yeah.
Right?
He is well on it. Yeah.
He's killing it at the moment.
He's a daily guy.
Daily guy. But like,
Yeah.
I just like his content. But also...
It's just so real.
It's just real.
You
But
know.
I just started watching him. The way he trains is going back to what you just said. So he'll go to the gym without any like, oh, I'm going to do this today. It's just be like, I'm just going to go and do what I feel. And it's made it way more fun for me because I'm not really an analytical guy. Like it was cool. Like, I was filling out my little thing, 32, 10 reps. 8th and 10th rep felt a little easier than they did a week before. Cool, very good, very good.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, right, I'm just going to do maybe a bit heavier, but only do 5 and just absolute fail
Yeah.
again and then stop. And I've just
So I've mostly been like that. And
Right.
that's probably why I got hooked on CrossFit. Because
Yeah.
it was so different. And whatever I was doing in the early days was improving my benchmark workouts until they stopped improving. And then I found a need that actually I need to be a better Olympic weightlifter.
right.
So it's good to a point, and maybe as a bodybuilder, brilliant, because you're not performance related.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for progress on a reason why you're doing a particular movement, say squats, and say you have a 6-month off season, like actually the reason why I want to get stronger on squats, not bigger,
Yeah.
but stronger, is so that can adapt into power through the pedal,
Yeah.
or holding a position for an extended amount of time on the bike. So then when you have that goal there, then you might need more structure. But ultimately the conditioning side, so what you're doing is what we call assistance movements, where you're building strength in a functional way in different ways that aren't like particularly
not too
quantifiable
anything.
to sport.
Yeah.
What we tend to do is like the compound lifts, the main crux of your strength training, but then take the best bit of CrossFit and do the assistance work in a conditioning piece.
Right.
So then you're getting those gains as well as fitness and function that relates to the bike. So you're maximizing your time, and that's the magic really of the program, is not the squat progress or the pressing foundation, because you can find that stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And I urge people to do that.
Yeah.
Find a good program to follow, or do what you're doing for a little while and get into the gym, see how you feel, and be like, oh, my legs are a bit sore from that other session. I'm going to focus a little bit on upper body. Like, go in educated before you get there, maybe, as well.
Yeah, totally.
So look at some Instagram stuff, not all the fancy shit.
No.
But like, try not to neglect any area.
And it goes, for me, it all goes back to, and also similar to what you were saying, it's just got to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Like if you drive into the gym like I do every day, Monday to Friday, excited, like, fuck, I can't wait to do this.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to it. I got a podcast to listen to or some heavy music that I like putting on. Like that to me is, as soon as that stops, then you stop and you go do something else. Like you just
totally.
go for a ride or like whatever it could be. So yeah, just keeping it sustainable as well. And that style of training now has made it even more sustainable because I'm just like, oh,
You're excited for it.
so
You need
fun.
to be excited for
Yeah.
it. And that's why, like, the best program based on
Is the one you'll
science. The best program's the one you do
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, because they might be really shit.
Matty Baker, 1985. What is the stupidest bit of fitness or nutrition advice you've ever been given?
That I've ever been given. CrossFit's a fad. Don't do it. CrossFit will take away all your gains.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a massive thing.
There is a misunderstanding with any type of lifting or fitness, right? That, you know, my girlfriend does this all the time and it's really frustrating. I'll be like, oh, you should come to the gym with me today. I don't want to get muscly.
Yeah.
Okay, the one trip to the gym is going to be okay. You're not going to come out of there looking like Jet off Gladiators.
So, yeah, here's the difficulty is
So
people
hot,
have
I wish you would.
preconceived ideas. Jet was fucking hot.
Yeah,
Don't Google her now, though. She might be more attainable, man. Would you?
Jet, man, honestly.
Yeah, you definitely would, wouldn't you?
She used to live around here. rejected.
Really?
Yeah.
Used to. She's not around here now.
I don't know. I haven't seen her. I feel like I'd know if I saw her.
Yeah, fair enough.
She used to wear the costume
What, around
Walking the
around?
dog.
No, she couldn't. She
with
couldn't.
the big baton thing.
Imagine.
Spinning off trees and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So where are we at with that?
Oh,
Oh no, yeah, in
worst
the gym.
fitness
Yeah.
advice or nutrition advice.
So what I see and I saw through CrossFit is people meet their genetic potential through this type of training, and mountain bikers should do that and not be put off by preconceived ideas of fitness influences like muscular girls in CrossFit that are probably on steroids, etc.
Yeah.
So they are either juicing or genetically special to get there. And then the strength and fitness not going hand in hand is quashed by Tia Toomey, a CrossFit athlete who is now on, I think, a bobsled team.
Oh, is she?
So she was competing in weightlifting, I think in the Commonwealth Games, but could also do 5K and CrossFit and all of the other stuff. You're like, hold on a second. You're saying that strength and fitness don't go hand in hand. And if you looked at the perfect weightlifting program, you wouldn't do much more than walk.
Yeah.
Everything would be committed to recovering from weightlifting to get better at weightlifting. But then she's also doing fitness better than anyone else in the world, the sport of fitness, and competing in weightlifting. See, like, so what CrossFit did, I think, was reframe the science that was built up and say, actually, we're so far out of the parameters that you'd even look at.
Yeah.
Like, we need to see new parameters now because it's working.
Yeah.
And people are so stuck in the ways of the old science to say, no, that wouldn't work. But you're like, but it does, because look, this person's done it.
I
So-
remember listening to a podcast with Dave Castillo?
Oh, Dave Castro.
Castro.
Yeah, what a tool.
Maybe. Maybe. He's a CrossFit guy, though, isn't he? He's like a founder or...
He
CEO,
set up the
manage-
CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
He actually messaged me
Oh, really?
on Instagram before I realized he'd get messages on Instagram. And he was like, are you training Jonny Walker? I ride enduro. He's absolutely mint. Let's do a CrossFit video. So we got Jonny Walker on a CrossFit HQ video.
No
we sent
way.
a team and that. And yeah,
That's crazy.
legend. Yeah, like Dave Castro's a
But
random guy.
From what you were just saying too, it was like military training that way. I believe a lot of it because he was in an S.
yeah,
not
he
an
was like a
SAS.
Marine.
Marine or
or
something.
something,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
And it was like, oh, getting all his mates, but you could train like this. You don't just have to get jacked. You can get fit.
Yeah.
Cardio fit as well at the same time.
So he came in to kind of redefine the CrossFit Games a bit.
Right.
So
He
he was
was
like,
the founder. He
no, he wasn't a
he
founder.
came in and
Yeah, that was
revamped it.
Greg Glassman. I think he was
Okay.
more gymnastics.
right.
He wasn't that fit though when he set it up. It was random. He was just
Okay.
like really out of shape, pretty much alcoholic guy. Which fair enough. He created CrossFit. You don't have to live by the sword and all that.
No.
But Dave Castro came in. I'm like, one day I'll just go back to coffee and fags. two snatches every 20 minutes. Like the Bulgarians.
Don't worry, dude.
Yeah.
You'll be fit for Mars.
Yeah. You run faster at 38. Anyway, so he came in and he was like, actually what we want to find here is the fittest man and the fittest woman on the planet. And then there's a weeding out system of different, basically online, then regionals, then the games. Lots of complaints about the complexity and difficulty of workouts. He's like, I don't give a shit. Because the people that are the top 1% of 1% will get there.
Yeah.
Because if I challenge them and there's a winner, the others will try and get there and do the things that I'm asking the winners to do. Because we're trying to find number one, man and woman, instead of having an inclusive sport. And that's where then it got defined into a place that I wasn't proud of.
Right.
And actually de-affiliated during COVID because
really?
things went a bit tits up. I was like, I don't think I like CrossFit anymore. There's too much of that, like CrossFit wanker,
is
top not wearing,
CrossFit,
coffee drinking. you know.
CrossFit Cumbria still around?
Yeah, so I was super lucky with that.
Yeah.
So I had it, and then actually 2 members, Jonny, my videographer, and his wife Steph. They were like
Nice.
Steph was like my best CrossFit athlete in the gym, and it was like a perfect time. So she came in to manage the gym, and I actually had another gym down in Kendal, and part of the thing with the YT mob with my wife was that I was doing so much spinning plates. I'd read one too many business books, and I was like, I'll have all these siloed businesses But what I didn't realise is actually CrossFit Cumbria had a community based around my enjoyment. And most of the people there enjoyed my company and the way things were. And so when they saw me enjoying myself elsewhere, it was like I was cheating on them.
Right.
And I felt a sense of guilt a lot of the time. So then ultimately, I sold it to them. The Kendall gym wasn't that old. I didn't have that much connection emotionally to it, but it was the first step. And when I felt like actually that released so much from me, then CrossFit Cumbria, it was a natural time to give it to people that could really, it sounds cheesy, but they could take it to somewhere I couldn't then take it.
Yeah.
Because lots had happened around COVID that made me fall out of love with CrossFit. So the same as the police, I might still be good at my job, but it wasn't fulfilling me. And I was feeling a lot of guilt around the 74 hours on YouTube. Yeah. Feeling a lot of guilt of not coaching the classes in CrossFit to the people that I became friends with and encouraged to do it. And now I'm absent. I felt like hollow.
Okay.
So now it's entirely Fit for Racing. Don't do any one-on-ones, PT stuff. It's Fit for Racing. That is it. And that's how my mind's most clear and now I'm most happy.
Excuse my ignorance. So if someone wanted to come and train with you, they could come to Fit for Racing and you have a physical gym there. Or everything's online.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
but you still train
apart from local riders,
right?
So they can let themselves in, or we'll do a session. But oftentimes now I'll just do a session with them.
Right.
As I did in the early days of CrossFit. I'm like, I'm still getting fit and I enjoy this environment. Let's just get after it, you know?
Okay. I was trying to figure out before, like, okay, how do you have all this time to like be PT training?
No, well,
okay.
On the face of it, it might look like it's a really bad business model because I have that space there where I could make it into a commercial gym. Yeah. And I could charge people to come in. But then I'd have to manage that and I get the same like distraction.
Yeah.
Where now it's like a studio. Some people can train in there. I like training there. We do our videos in there.
Sick.
But it's clarity of mind for the one thing now, which is the program online.
So someone could become a Fit for Racing app person. Client from anywhere in the world then? Obviously that's open.
Only 18% of people are from the UK now.
No way.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All English speaking your videos or
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Maybe that's the Mr. Beast idea in the future.
Translate them.
Maybe.
We did have a guy, I'll have to find it, a Russian guy, did the opposite, but then started doing my YouTube videos in Russian. So you got to find it. Can we cut there and bring it on?
We'll put a link in the description. We'll find it and put a link in the description.
This is what I sound like in Russian. And it's like what's up, bikers? But whatever the Russian is like, what? Because someone stumbled across it as like a suggested video. It's like, it's a Russian guy.
Well, interesting.
Ripping my videos.
Something right there.
Yeah, I don't mind that kind of stealing because it's hilarious.
Russian stealing is loud.
All right, we'll do a couple more.
Yeah, I've got one here from Ebener. Can you make Texie throw up in the gym, please? I would love to see it. So
I'll just get him to film it. Oh, is it? Is it? I'm sure Texie's throwing up quite often. He does it to himself. And this is the thing, like Elliot Heap, he would throw up loads and be like, "Oh, it's fucking brutal." I'm like, no, I'm an educator and facilitator. He does it to himself. Because people think like I'm a hard ass whip cracker military guy. I'm like, I'm not. All I do is create an environment for you to end yourself. If you want to, you go for it. And there's times and places where it's important to hit an intensity level that is that hard.
Yeah.
And actually, very few people can do it. The sickness thing is not always it has to have some intensity. Sometimes it's nutrition choices as well. Basically how you made up.
Use McDonald's.
Yeah, Sunday dinner and then intervals on the assault bike.
Let's say there's someone out there and they're not quite ready to sign up for Fit for Racing, but yet they've got a garage, they've got a little space they can work out, maybe some body weight stuff. What would you say is the best 3 exercises that's going to make you fitter for riding?
The Fit for Riding program, that's a home-based program.
Oh, there you go.
Body weight only.
Teed it up.
We've got 58 million exercises in there. So just go for it. Okay. Twice a week, body weight. But like actually, body weight exercises, do something like probably like a split leg, like squat or lunge, both sides obviously equally. Arguably more on the other leg that you would have forward.
Interesting.
So you find some balance through your hips, etc.
Okay.
Push-ups for sure, and actually something that stabilizes you like through the upper mid back would be really hard to find. So maybe something with a band, so you could do a bit of that and hinging.
Okay.
Like what we find is like there's a massive deficit in riders through the upper mid back to stabilize shoulder blades and everything. So we can increase the function on the bike and handling quite easily through basically looking at the whole shoulder mechanism. So we do a lot of balancing in the program. Actually, don't look at the sport-specific attack position push-ups and do 1,000 of those. It will make you a better rider, but you might actually find more benefit to find the muscles that are imbalanced. So wherever you're strong, work the opposite. It's like the bomber planes that came back with holes all over them, and they started patching the holes. Like, no, let's put patches where the holes aren't, because they're the ones that didn't come back. Is that completely different to the point?
That's nice. That's nice.
It's really nice, yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
think about the other things that create the structure. Balance.
Still getting my head around that. That's great. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like that one.
I liked that one.
All right. One
as
more.
well.
Go on, Ollie.
Yeah, I've got one here. It's from Richard Verdon. What's your opinion on ice baths and cold therapy for recovery?
If you're into it, do it.
Ha!
That's just my life motto.
Yeah.
I reserve judgment. I'm not a judgmental person. So if you're into it, do it. The science would suggest don't go 2 degrees and end yourself, or 3 minutes at 2 degrees, because it's just skin deep. Muscularly, I think it's like 12 minutes odd at 7 degrees, so you get deep muscle penetration from the cold. But really what they can't understand yet is like the other benefits, cognitive benefits.
Yeah.
Where like CrossFit, like they're trying to define it by these parameters that are in recordable science that probably won't come out for a good few years from people that have done it consistently. But there's obviously something there that is good for you.
Yeah.
I tried it a little while. I had a freezer in my gym, but I genuinely didn't like being that uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I can be uncomfortable in other ways, but
Yeah.
because I don't know.
I don't like the cold, me. Still a big fan of that.
You like it.
Yeah.
I just think if something feels nice, then like when you stump your toe, you rub it, it feels better. You can't. There's no science as to why that rubbing feels better. Do you understand what I mean? There isn't though. If you've smashed your toe,
Huh?
I don't think there is.
No.
Rubbing feels better.
It does.
Yeah, but that's it. Who am I to say it doesn't work? And you can find a paper to prove or disprove anything. And this is what I don't like about the internet nowadays. It's like, no, this is, you're saying that you should have this amount of protein per day. But actually I love meat. And what I've found is if I eat lean protein and nothing else, I get shredded.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fucking do that, whether it's optimal or not. Because otherwise I can slip into bad habits. So maybe as a circuit breaker, and I think a lot of these things, actually what they don't look at is what lifestyle choices you're making elsewhere as well.
Yeah. So
as soon as you start doing ice baths, what else are you doing? Clean up your diet, doing more exercise.
Yeah.
I think everything goes
more
hand in
productive
hand.
day after, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So then you make a defined choice, and maybe ice baths are the circuit breaker to your old habits, therefore a facilitator of a different lifestyle. Do it. If there's no science behind it, who cares? Because it's getting something out of your action.
Mate, this has been a great chat. I've really enjoyed this.
It's flown by as well. I think we're running out of memory card space. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, and what do people do if they want to get
Yeah.
involved with Fit for Racing and become an app person?
An app person. Well, yeah, App Store, Fit4Racing, FIT number 4 Racing. It's probably on there if you search Fit4Racing as well. And we've got a website with lots of information on, and you can sign up there too. However, website's a bit cheaper. Should we give them a code as well for the website?
Mate, let's do a code for the website.
it, yeah.
50% or something.
50% or something.
Why not?
Do that.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, because you guys have been great. I was like, 20%. Nah. If anyone's listened this long, they are committed.
Didn't I say something about stay till the end as well?
Oh,
Yeah,
It wasn't actually planned. I like
Magic.
stuff like this.
Nice.
So like the app's in development. It's going to link to the website. So if you have a membership on the website, you'll access the app, but the program's exactly the same. It's just the delivery of them.
Okay.
The website's a bit cheaper, and actually there's going to be no discounts on the app when this goes out. But what would we call it? Ride 50? RIDE 50?
RID 50 sounds like a
I'll
dream.
knock that up tonight. 50% off your first month. So if you're in doubt, you can sign up, follow it. And like doing a full month
Great
of
Christmas present
anything-
for someone.
Yeah.
For the biker in your life, dude. I might get it for you.
Yeah, why not?
Get it for you.
Like it.
Nice little gift for you.
All right, wicked. Thank you.
Oh, and YouTube and Instagram. We're
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah. You are.
Daily.
Actually are, aren't you?
Twice daily. You reckon?
Twice daily from next. Oh,
Yeah, we
I'll
should-
fizzle- I'll
That's a
fizzle
lot.
out.
But
In 3 months' time, I'll do nothing for
let's
like 6 months.
Let's see how the twice daily goes. I'll be interested, honestly.
Yeah.
He's just, it's interesting what does well, isn't it?
No, we're
Where
all
did you hear the twice
algorithm-
daily thing from? Where's that? Is that
I listened to an audio book a couple of days ago, and
Yeah.
the guy was like,
not an old one, is it?
I'll send you the link.
The joke is if it's old, it's gone.
Oh, right.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Come on.
This guy said his wife bought him like a mentor for like $250,000. It was like 3 calls, 1 a year. He's like, look at your social media versus mine. The content isn't different. It's just the volume. And he said that by doing 10 times more, he got 10 times more back. So then he's like, just peak like the time that you have to do it. And I'm like, I don't want to put out shit. And I think this is going to be different for different
Yeah.
environments and industries. But I think the different type of content we'll do is like kind of, what would you call it? Like informative entertainment?
Yeah. Informative education, entertainment.
entertainment.
Something there, isn't there?
Edutainment.
There's a
Yes.
trifecta there, isn't there?
So you
Educate.
get all those things together of like helping people in an entertaining way. They can learn from it
with a
It's
bit of
free,
inspiration.
and then ultimately get into fitness for riding, and then sign up and be the best athlete on the planet.
And that right there's a wrap. Like and subscribe.
Peace and love. Thanks for
bless.
joining.
Peace.
Mate, what an episode.
That was the best one.
Could be. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to see more, just click here, is it?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
up there. Should be up
Look
there.
about there.
Yeah, about
And
there.
then there's other ones here.
Other ones there that you might like. You can hit us up social media at
Definitely.
@erdo_23.
Do you know what I also thought? We like to share a lot of codes and sort of offers and exciting things with podcast companionship.
Yeah.
So head to, where do they head?
theridecompanion.co.uk. You can find all our sponsors, all our offers. Christmas is coming, as you can see by the
It is.
decorations and the set design.
Yeah,
Lock in, hook the boys up,
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
Look after our sponsors who help look after us and make all this beautiful content
We're all
possible.
looking after each other, and that's Christmassy, and that's the Ride Companion.